revolution can start in the streets. It first has to happen in the mind, let me speak. We seek peace and justice, the system won't pivot. Can't talk the talk without walking in and living it. Far more than slogans and some banners. Watch out, police, cameras and scanners. Just because you read a book that don't make you conscious. Millions of people fought for freedom before us. We the type to catch up with the mic like that, like that, like that, like that. Check it out, like, move your body like that, like that, like that, like that, like that. With the dialect, like your mic check. Move your body like that. That is how you catch up with the mic like that, like that. Move your body like that. Need more folks to live for revolution. Like that. Like that, like that. Before revolution can start in the streets, it first has to happen in the mind, let me speak. We seek peace and justice, the system won't pivot. Can't talk the talk without walking in and living it. Far more than slogans and some banners. Watch out, police, cameras and scanners. Just because you read a book that don't make you conscious. Millions of people fought for freedom before us. We the type to catch up with the mic like that, like that, like that, like that. Check it out, like, move your body like that, like that, like that, like that, like that. With the dialect, like your mic check. Move your body like that. That is how you catch up with the mic like that, like that, like that.
Maybe I didn't time that all so well. Whoopsies. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. It's a glorious new week over here from a bright and sunny Helsinki, Finland. We have plenty to talk about as we did get the bi-weekly closure, also the weekly closure, and of course the daily, and I believe even 2-day and 3-day as well. So plenty of things happening right there. Hey, no music, not right now. This is not the time. Perhaps another day for that one. Anyways, with that said, I would like to wish you the best, and the happiest as fucking always, because why the hell not, man? Just spread some goddamn good vibes around. It's free to do, actually, so why wouldn't you? And no, tell everyone they should have death and destruction and all the worst things possible. Jesus fucking Christ, man. Anyways, we have plenty to talk about today, and actually in a more sincere tone, as we really haven't had like a whole hell of a lot of very interesting things going on, more importantly in the medium and higher term timeframes. Now we do have pretty much everything suggesting that we are going to get a move probably within this next 2-week landscape. Oh my lord, I need to turn down the alerts right there. Hey, what's up, Opie effing Taylor? What's up, man? And indeed, my friend, indeed, but I will turn off the alerts for now, just so that we can get through this. And let's put the focus now on the CrownGen application, which we found at app.crowngen.net. It is, by the way, 100% free, and you can also get it on your mobile devices now too. Anyways, Bitcoin dominance actually is taking a bit of a leg down right there, as Bitcoin is more or less ranging between about $32,000 and $41,000. As long as we're seeing that, Bitcoin dominance very likely does continue with the overall downtrend. However, the second that Bitcoin starts to break out of that range is the second that I start to look for altcoins to very much lose versus their Bitcoin Satoshi pairing. That does not imply that they're going to lose versus US dollar. That is more or less a sort of insight into the direction of whatever direction Bitcoin's going in. If Bitcoin breaks the upside of $41,000, then yeah, we probably see them gain versus US dollar, and vice versa to the downside below about $32,000. Anyways, Fear and Greed Index also took down another couple points from yesterday to today. I believe we were at about a 17 read, now down to a 15 overall, though. Ever since the last last couple of weeks when Bitcoin got into this range, we have seen this more or less in the extreme fearful zone, which is good, at least for a bit of a short-term bouncy bounce. We're just going to play into the analysis right here. And to put it bluntly right now, all jokes aside, altcoins, or at least a few altcoins, looking like they actually want to do something relatively special in this next week or two. Bitcoin, however, is probably going to follow, but it does not look like it's leading right now. Anyways, open interest is back above that $6 billion marker, so I do believe that we are starting to posture for an actual move now, while the last week was more or less, preparation for mostly like the second half of June. I do think that we're really starting to see these things come into fruition. So realistically, it's funny because, as always, titles have to be on YouTube. Clickbait bullshit, but at the end of the day, what has it really been for like the last couple weeks? Bitcoin in a range going sideways as fuck. That is quite literally all that we've really been seeing. But now we actually do see that we're probably going to resolve at least the medium-term time frame range and jump above, well, probably above the daily range for right now. Anyways, top 10 best coins, top 10 worst coins. We see any winners from the last 24 hours? Actually, yes, we do a little bit. Tezos, Polygon, Phantom, Wave, Solana, Nexos, Icon, Telcoin, Kusama, and the graph all actually putting in a little bit of green action right there. On the other side, losses mostly muted, but actually mostly muted. We really don't see too many things taking that much of a red dildo to the face. So with that in mind, let's go over here to the market data tab, and what do we see right here right now? What do we see as far as the funding rate goes? Is it still posting negative rates on BitMEX? Actually, it is, which is rather interesting. All of the exchanges are right around parity, 0.01% region. So again, this does essentially favor the upside. We're going to be tying this into the analysis, and as always, we've been harkening back to this data over the last week and a half. So if you are new here and you're just tuning into this video maybe for the first time on this channel, understand that we're kind of following up for these sorts of things because they do take time to come to fruition. So I really want to make sure that the people who actually happen to give a fuck and who are here for a while, you can see this happening over time. And while it does happen relatively slowly, as you would expect after having a pretty massive move, it does eventually happen, and it takes a bit of patience. Realistically, YouTube titles and YouTube and social media venues in general are just terrible for this sorts of things because it gets us into this ideology that we're always looking for a move, like Bitcoin's going to 1 million, Bitcoin's going to 0, all this bullshit. No, Bitcoin's going sideways, and markets take time, man, and you want this to take time. Look, Bitcoin took about 3-4 months on the top to put in a distributive effect. Do you think that we're just going to resolve that within 2 to 3 weeks of hanging on to the $30,000 range? Absolutely fucking not. It's probably going to take most of summer, maybe all of summer, to actually resolve and really trade outside of the $30,000, $50,000 greater range, that is. So with that in mind, I do want to bring you over here to the put call markets, of which there's something that I completely did not understand about this for the last really since I started using it about a couple of weeks ago. But this data is actually much more potent than what I originally thought, because you can actually choose your expiration over here. So we can get the dailies, we can get the weeklies, we can get the monthlies, and we can get the quarterlies as well. And right now, while we could look at the daily ranges, which is essentially June 7th, which expires in like a few hours here probably. Hey, what's up, Mr. Ciano? How you doing? It's Solana. There you go. Anyways, looking at the daily ranges right here for the June 7th expiration. So that is today, again, in about 3-4 hours, I believe it is. We very likely are not going to be moving outside of, the $35,000 to $38,000 strikes. That's not all that interesting. I think that most people probably already know that. But what we can do, and what I think is a little more interesting right here, is let's look at the weeklies first and foremost, and then we'll look at the monthlies, of which the monthlies are getting humongous amounts of play. Oh, this is relatively telling. We see that the $30,000 put strikes are getting played out much more than anything else right here. This is extreme confidence, at least in the way that I look at things, that Bitcoin is unlikely to break to the downside this week. If it even is going to break to the downside at all, these are very likely protected puts against long positions, is what I'm essentially postulating. These are for fucking covers. For whatever reason, people think that big institutions or big players, big professional traders essentially are just blindly buying naked puts. Fuck no. These are used as hedging tools, as are all derivative contracts. This is why people misanalyze this shit all the fucking time, because they just don't think of it in that terms. But look, man, if you are trading something like this at this level, you're very, very likely using this as a cover, or at least as some sort of risk management, rather than I'm looking for Bitcoin to go to $25,000 today, this week. I think that's relatively unlikely. Now, what I think is even more interesting is if we go out over here to the June monthlies, because these ones are getting the actual play here. We can even look at December's as well, although I don't think it's as interesting just yet. It's still very far away, but it is kind of interesting to see where people are, positioning themselves for end of year here. Anyways, we'll go to the June 25th expiration and let's just see what is being revealed by this. And actually something very, very telling is being revealed right here. We see clearly that the $40,000 put strike versus the about $48,000 to $50,000 call strikes are getting played immensely. And what were we essentially postulating based off of the bi-weekly closure that happened last night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, that Bitcoin very likely does trade up somewhere into the mid to upper $40,000 territory and then plays around there for a little bit and perhaps comes back down into the $30,000 territory based off of very specific, or actually a slew of very specific signals that we've been looking at for the past week and a half now. And I'd say that this data really does solidify that. So I would feel quite confident saying that Bitcoin very likely does play within that range coming into the end of this month. And we can see that these are really getting some play right here. I mean, we're talking about like 2.8 on the board. So that is like very, 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 very telling. So overall, I'm glad that I finally fucking found this. We can quickly look at the yearlies as well. I wouldn't put too much weight on this to be like very blunt right here, but let's just see what's getting played. $64,000 call strike versus not really anything else. We see a bit of a spread going on over there, but not anything too crazy. I mean, $64,000 call strike getting played out on its own isn't too telling. $32,000 put strike, not really giving us too much there as well. Anyways, I want to call out this over here. By the way, big shout out to my good friend, actually, Mr. Omar Bram from Crypto News. Great fucking guy. Calling out yet again, or just putting the highlight on yet again another very unfortunate thing that has to come out of this goddamn Bitcoin conference. And again, man, I want to be on record as saying I do like Bitcoin. I think it's a great idea. And I think that Bitcoin on its own merit stands for itself. But when you have shit like this, where you have someone who's saying like, if you're against Bitcoin toxicity, you're against Bitcoin. And if you're against Bitcoin, you're against freedom. That is like, look, I feel like people have massively misheard me when I've been kind of maybe giving my stupid opinion on on some of these more egregious comments from the Bitcoin conference. Look, my point is that you don't need to fucking cheapen the message of this very impressive technology by doing hyperbole like this. We don't want to fucking join a tribe, or at least I would not want to join a fucking tribe. And I hate this sort of ideology. It's the same thing with politics. You have the red team versus the blue team. You got the Bitcoiners versus the no coiners. It's like you're either with us or you're against us. No. We need to include everyone, as would be the general disposition, at least that I would be coming from. And when you have shit like this going on, obviously this does not represent the views of everyone. And of course, that is one of the beautiful messages of Bitcoin, in the sense that the whole thing is decentralized in terms of also opinions as well, and like who speaks for it. No one singular person represents Bitcoin, and that is the way that it should be. I mean, even Satoshi Nakamoto, who we're not even sure is just one simple person, it's probably a slew of people, would go on, pretty much doesn't even want to be like the face of it, essentially. So I think that that's really, really powerful stuff. But when you have shit like this, I think it just really honestly pushes other people away. And for good reason. I mean, I'd be pushed away by this too. But at the end of the day, Bitcoin is a very, very impressive technology. I certainly stand by that statement. But it's not going to fucking fix everything. This is ridiculous hyperbole as well. And again, it destroys the good merits that Bitcoin has on its own. Look, if you want to understand why Bitcoin is great or why Bitcoin is important, you just need a financial education. That's all. That's fucking all. And that's what and if you can understand that, you can understand why an asset like this is very, 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 very powerful. But that's perhaps a discussion for another time, and we'll just leave that out for now. Let's get into the actual price action charts themselves. It is time, my friends. It is time indeed. And what do we have over here? We got a bi-weekly, which just closed last night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And what do we have right here? Well, we have the signature. That is usually not so good overall. But with that in mind, I actually do think that Bitcoin is destined, or not destined, but very likely due for a little bit of an upwards thrust right here, probably within the next couple of weeks. I'd be, like I said, quite confident Bitcoin does play between $40,000 and $50,000 sometime around the last couple of weeks of this month, June that is. And looking at it right here, we are bouncing off the 20 simple, as it does have a positive slope. Great. However, we did get the closure, or we did get the cross that we spoke about yesterday on the bi-weekly MACD right here. This, historically speaking, and to be fair, we only have about 3 to 4 iterations of this, but historically speaking, this has gotten all of the macro moves, and when it does cross the downside, it's gotten all of the essential bull traps within this market. And with that in mind, that does again imply that Bitcoin's first move very likely does come to the upside here. And I'm not saying that this is 100% guaranteed to fucking happen. Obviously, nothing plays in that way, but it does have a high probability, seen as all the historical examples have played out thus far. And I would play it cautiously myself as a trader. Of course, other people are going to have different decisions with that. That is your disposition as, an investor, trader, speculator, whatever the fuck you want to call yourself. Gambler would maybe be the more appropriate term for many of us, myself included sometimes. But looking at this right here, I just want to run you through the last few iterations of this. You can make the decision for yourself, but ultimately the last couple times, or the last 3 times that we have seen a downside cross, these were coming in on mega bull traps. We're talking about this move over here on October 2019. That was after Bitcoin went from 4,000 to 14,000, crosses down right here, I believe it is, as it does bounce off the 20 simple. Boom, puts in a rally a little bit above the 9 exponential average right there, and then dumps down actually onto new lows around the 55 exponential average on that time frame. And then I'm not necessarily certain if I would consider this an outlier or not. I don't have an opinion on that just yet. Going back to the example before that, to the downside, we do see this one on the bull trap of 2018 in February. On this move, again, bouncing off the 20 simple into the 9 exponential average rejection and down, making new lows over the next, year essentially. In fact, significantly new lows as well. So again, do turn your eyes if you do want to be bullish right now, because I do think that this is at least it's pretty damn compelling for me to put a lot of weight on. Looking at the only other cross before that we've seen was right over here. Very similar situation as well. Bitcoin bouncing off the 20 simple into the 9 exponential average, and then what happens after that? Dumps onto new lows, and actually for the next year we continue to make new lows. So with that in mind, have we gotten the bounce just yet? No, we have not. So whether you're bullish or bearish, I stick with what I've been saying for the last 2-3 weeks here. Bitcoin very likely does rally into the mid to deep $40,000 territory before this is all said and done. Am I 100% saying that Bitcoin's going to bull trap there? No, I'm not. I'm just saying that it's a strong possibility. It's something worth considering. And for myself, you can probably figure out what the fuck I'm going to be doing. Again, I'm a trader, not necessarily an investor of this asset. Not saying that it's right or wrong, just that's the sort of narrative that I'm coming from. God damn it, Scott. Saying Bitcoin is not everything is like saying the internet was not going to become everything when it clearly is everything. What the fuck? Sir, this is a Wendy's, so I don't know what to tell you on that. I feel like anytime someone comes back at me whenever I talk about that sort of a subject, it's like you're not even having a conversation with me. You took something that I said out of context and then are throwing it back at me and arguing something that I never even said to fucking begin with. Bitcoin is not everything. I mean, it's just an asset, man. It's just a fucking asset. That's all. Just like gold, it's got some cool things to it, but it's not everything. It's not going to fucking suck your dick. It's not going to be your girlfriend, unfortunately. Although it can pay for that as well. So maybe it does. Who knows? Anyways, looking at this right here, I do think that that's very much worth considering. And for reference, right now, the 9 exponential average on the biweekly time frame is actually in the low $40,000 territory. But as we have seen in the past, typically rallies above, gets rejected, and then comes down. Again, I'm not saying that that's 100% going to happen. Just something worth considering. And what I can say a little bit more bluntly is that as long as Bitcoin's below $50,000, I would play this one as still low range. My general disposition has been more or less unchanged on this asset for the past 3 weeks, ever since we got down into the $30,000 territory. Bitcoin very likely plays between $30,000 and $50,000 for the next few months, or 2 to 4 months, probably the end of summer if I had to guess. Solana is everything. That's right, man. Solana is everything, baby. I'm all in. I don't even know what the fuck it is, but I'm all in and I'm spending it right now. Okay, so with that in mind, is there anything else that I want to reference on this here chart? Maybe go to the weekly. Is there anything of particular interest right here? I mean, momentum also still heading down. Of course, the 3 big things that I'm looking for on, to confirm like a major low on Bitcoin have still yet to happen, although we do have potentially one populated themselves right here. Actually, we do have potentially a higher low in place on Bitcoin spot. Now, that needs to be combined, of course, with the volatility metric that we've been looking at, and then also, what was the other one? So we had trend, volatility, and fuck, I forgot the third one, hash ribbons. That's right. Hash ribbons are certainly not there as well either. They are still in a recovery phase, but it actually will very likely switch around probably within the next few days here, it looks like, assuming that Bitcoin just doesn't dump to fucking, just doesn't dump to all hell. So looking at this right now, I'm going to go back over here to my main charts and follow up on that signal on the BBWP. Let's see how low we're getting now. It still continues to go lower. I still want to see this get preferably into the single digits, as low as possible is going to be better. But, again, to, wrap up this signal right here, we do have multiple portions of this, multiple facets of this. We got the 100 percentile reads right here and right here. We are obviously operating below the moving average on this. It also has a negative slope as well. Next one, I want to see this get down into the single digits, of which we saw, similar stuff on the coronavirus dump time right here, and also 2018 dump from 6,000 to $3,000 right here. You can see same shit, essentially hits 100 percentile, telling you that it's a major mega pivot on the market, and then it trends down until we get down, in this case, about single digits to about 4 percentile. This one over here actually gets all the way to 0. So overall, I do think that we're on track, but Bitcoin does seem to be a bit of a or I wouldn't say necessarily say laggard here, but it's not really doing anything as interesting as, say, some of the more notorious altcoins or some of the better impacting altcoins as of recent times. Anyways, as it stands right now, yes, Bitcoin does potentially have a higher low in place. It's not necessarily confirmed just yet. And also, what I do want to call out right here, also further enhancing, potential upside drive. We will be building hidden bullish divergence on the weekly here as well. How do we confirm hidden weekly bullish divergence? Well, in this case, a couple ways. It depends how aggressive you want to be. If we trade above last week's high, could you probably look at that as confirmed? Probably yes. If we do close, technically speaking, if you want to be conservative, you want to see a closure above last week's high. But in this case, targets would be, first target would be somewhere around the 21, which is about 44. And then second target would be about the 10 simple, which is $47,000. Remember, that is also very much in line with your traditional bull trappy areas between about the 0.5 and the 618 Fibonacci retracement on a bearish read right here, which certainly is. And that's coming in around the upper $40,000 territory. So I just want to show that there's a few areas of interest to the upside. While I do think that Bitcoin will play out some upside, sometime a little bit later this month, the areas of interest again are going to be extremely short term. Are going to be right here, right around about $41,000. Or if you want to use last week's high, probably works that way as well. I mean, we do essentially have a slew of highs right here. Hold on, let me just zoom this back on out. We could do something like this on a closing basis for either a daily closure above about 39,350 or a wick higher than about 41,000. Essentially. Next short-term target would be right around here. Would be basically about $43,000. Probably a short-term pullback from there, and then very likely continuation somewhere into this $47,000 to $50,000 black hole. At that point, I would be very, very cognizant of any sort of daily weakness. If you see a local high being confirmed, at that point, I'd very likely be looking for Bitcoin to come back down and probably base out in the, maybe upper $30,000 territory once again. It is a little bit concerning, however, that on all of these reads that we have seen on the bi-weekly, though, all of those reads on the bi-weekly MACD have been followed by, essentially follow through to the downside. None of those have actually reversed on that signal, and none of those have come back down to that same low and carried out a MAC reversal from there as well. They've all actually been bull traps before, about a year or so of downside. So I'm a bit concerned about that. Again, it's not 100% guaranteed that that's going to happen, but it is a topic of consideration right here. I'm sure that people are calling this a head and shoulders as well. I don't believe that it is a head and shoulders, just like I don't believe that this is a triangular formation right here either. If anything, it's a rectangle, and that is it's another shape. It's another fucking preschool shape. A rectangle typically is telling you what? It's telling you about consolidation. So at the end of the day, I do think that all the people who are trying to fit fucking triangles on this shit are just doing fucking finger painting and looking at Jesus toast. And again, no disrespect to anyone out there who's trying to do that. It's just I don't think that it's going to work out like that. Look, you have very clear and obvious range highs and lows. Here's a range highs, here's a range lows. As long as between there's no trending moves to be spoken about on Bitcoin. However, there is a lot more interesting things going on the altcoin sphere right here. But before we get into that, I do want to cover up the low-term timeframes for Bitcoin here. We do have yet again another it looks like higher low on our short-term timeframes on the 4-hour, and we do have what we discussed over the weekend, very likely a bear trap Friday, Saturday, Sunday within this region right here. I do quite like that one, and I feel quite good about that call too, to be honest with you. But looking at it over here, all the ego aside, what do we see on short-term timeframe momentum oscillators as Bitcoin does essentially put in what appears to be a higher low in the making? 35,850 is the momentous number to keep the 4-hour. Stokes to the upside, 3-hour is going to be showing what? 35.6 with a little bit of a drama right at the edge of the bearish control zone. Typically, that is a conclusive move, and we do see this continue onwards and upwards whenever I see something like that. Bi-hourly is flip-flopping around at the edge of the bullish control zone, but still technically will remain to the upside as long as we're above 36,200. And hourly is already up there as well. 36,400 is the magical number on this one. I'm curious what the medium-term time frames say here. 37.5 is going to be the 12-hour, and daily is actually down right now, but 37,350 is the magical number on this one. Let's see what CME says. CME paints a completely different story, and I think that CME is probably the Bulaw's best hope right here too. And I think that it is the more accurate chart. In fact, I do put the most weight on this chart, as I have been saying for a long time. And Bulaw's probably want this right now too. 12 hours showing 37 as a little bit of a pivot there too. 4 hours about to turn up as long as we remain above 36,250, which we are above right now. And 3 hours going to be about the same. It looks like a little bit higher. Bi-hourly is actually twisting pricing down right now too, and hourly is flip-flopping up. So we do see a lot of differential between these signals. So what does that likely align with? It probably aligns with another test to the downside somewhere around our weekend lows, and then very likely another try to the upside after that. And I think that that's what we're getting right now. If you're looking at the extremely short-term timeframes, do we get another run at this area right here? Probably, yeah. Anywhere between about 35.5 and 36,000 bucks is fair game. But ultimately, I do think that Bitcoin is putting in a bit of a short-term reversal right here, and we probably play up, somewhere around like 38 to 39,000 bucks. Maybe later this week. Here's the thing though, altcoins are looking completely different. In fact, well, maybe not completely different, but we should bring up some of the stronger altcoins right here. We'll look at Mr. Butyrol. Mr. Butyrol actually is putting in like an actual triangular formation right here. It's not super obvious, but it is fine. I suppose we do have obviously higher lows. That is the most important point, of course. And then we do have our range highs right around about just under 2,900 bucks right here. And if that does get taken out, I'd be looking for Mr. Butyrol to pop up somewhere into the low $3,000 territory. Anywhere between about 33 and 3,400 is fair game. Could we have potential continuation after that? Yeah, possible. Definitely possible. But as it stands right now, this chart is head and shoulders actually better than Bitcoin's right now. And again, I don't say that to shit on Bitcoin or anything. I do think that Bitcoin is still the most established asset within this whole class. But Ethereum is definitely the leading application for right now as well. And what do you know? Ethereum did close above all major moving averages on the weekly yesterday. So I do put quite a fair bit of weight on this one. In fact, if I'm going to be bullish on this market, I'm mostly looking at traditional market, the strength in traditional market, and also the altcoins here. The stronger altcoins are leading right now, whereas Bitcoin is more or less ranging. So do we get like a mini alt season within this region as long as Bitcoin just doesn't shit the bed? Perhaps yes. I do think that that's definitely possible within this area here. Anyways, if we look at let's look at the bi-weekly right here. Yeah, close above all major moving averages as well. Again, Ethereum can come all the way down to like 2,400 bucks. I'd look at that as a major opportunity, at least for like a trade, probably back up somewhere around low 3,000 bucks. Actually, looking pretty damn good here. In fact, as it does maintain its composure. We do see on the weekly, did we confirm hidden bullish evidence? I would say that this is confirmed hidden bullish evidence in this case. We do have obviously higher lows, and we do have RSI making significantly lower lows right here. Typically speaking, yep, I would be targeting a move somewhere around this area right here, which is actually in the mid 3,000s. So anywhere between about 33 to 3,500 for Ethereum, maybe over these next few weeks into the end of June, is looking completely fine to myself. Do we get a dump down to like 24, 23 before then? Maybe yes, but again, I would be looking at that as an opportunity on the first pass. I think this one's actually rather speaking for itself on its own, which is impressive. We can also look at it on our secondary charts over here, which I do want to double check on. And what do you fucking know, man? Daily is maintaining above the 20 simple. It's starting to cradle price action. Typically, that's a pretty damn good signal. My mentor used to always kind of call this one out after like a big dump, and usually we will rally back up a little bit, at least coming back up to those prior breakdown levels, and then we get to see what the strength looks like around there, which is going to be a fun game. But at least for right now, things are okay, I suppose. And do we see any obvious signals going on right here? 12-hour MACD is turning up once again. Daily MACD never really turned down for the last few days. 10 hours getting going here too. 4-hour is just freshly getting going. 3-hour is already going as well, and bi-hourly and hourly are both in the same posturing. So overall, a little bit of sideways short term. However, I would be looking for an upside resolution of this. For Ethereum, a little bit easier as the ranges are very well defined here, in fact, which would imply that any sort of a 4-hour delta closure above about 2,900 bucks would do it for me. We also see 4-hour TSI turn into the upside as well, also rejecting getting below the bullish buy. So I think that this relatively speaks for itself as well. And I'd be looking for probably, maybe a short-term move somewhere back around about just around 30-50-ish region. And that's going to be a bit of a short-term resistance right there. However, I don't think that things stop there for forever. Again, I do think that things very likely do trade into, the mid to low $3,000 territory, similar to Bitcoin at like mid to upper $40,000 territory. And then that's where you kind of have to pay attention once again. If we were to put on a bearish retracement on this one, just kind of understand where the pressure points might be. Let's see where this would, I already got it in there. Yeah, and it'd be showing about 3,200 to 3,400-ish region. So I do like that area. And let's just make it fit my bias as well for the 4-hour. There we go. Take the actual take the actual closures right there. Yeah, be looking somewhere right around there. I think I probably did this on a daily. Yep, I did do it on a daily. Okay, so that makes sense. All right, sweet. So yeah, again, I do think most is mostly being based off of what Ethereum and some of the other stronger alts are doing. I'm very curious to see what Matic is doing here too. Matic looks like it's actually trying for a higher low right here. Not bad at all. And Cardano, what's our other strong one? Yeah, same thing right here as well. Actually even broke the range highs yesterday, although maybe this is your new range highs right here. But overall, these ones are showing significantly different weekly and higher term time frame looks than Bitcoin right now. There is a couple other things that I wanted to speak about, but maybe we'll just get into the into the comments now. We've already been speaking for like 26 minutes, so apologies on that. I know that my voice sounds like fucking nails on the chalkboard, but I don't know. Is there anything else that I wanted to get to before we get into that? Let's see. All right, I'll turn on the alert thingy over here. Okay, sweet. I feel like I'm missing something big here, though. I feel like I am missing something big. Okay, was there something on weekly BBWP that I wanted to call out? Okay, we got that right there. Okay, yes, actually there is something on the on the weekly BBWP that I do want to call out. Okay, another sort of point in the Bulaw's court here. Now, when we do, oh god damn it, it's too loud. All right, let me actually turn this down once again. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, so whenever we do see the weekly BBWP, it doesn't necessarily get into the 100 percentile like almost ever, except for the genesis of Bitcoin over here. But anytime that we get above 90 percentile, those are extremes, both the upside and the downside. I want to show you the last few times that we saw something similar to this, which was again 2018 to 2019 right here on these lows, and then again right here, a little bit less so on the coronavirus dump lows as well. Anyways, we'll first look at this one right here. You can see that Bitcoin started to actually trend to the upside on this BBWP read after breaking the after being extremely low right here, teetering around about that $6,000 level. Then it got over to an extreme right here, yes. And what happens after that? It gets wrangled by the moving average on it, and at that point comes back down to those single digit reads again. And at that point, we actually do see it reverse. And I actually look at the moving average on it, and the slope of this is very telling as to potential changes in macro direction. As you do see that anytime that we actually pass through that region, those are pivots on the market, both the upside and the downside. I mean, works the same thing over here as well, right? We do cross it right here, boom, spend some time, but ultimately does come down. Same thing on coronavirus dump times over here as well. Didn't get as high, to be fair, but once we get wrangled by it, once again, that was your macro reversal, basically setting in a base at about $9,000 and never really going below ever since, and perhaps maybe never again. Although don't know, knock on wood, because if this is the head and shoulders right here, which I don't believe that it is, then the target would be about $6,000. So take that as you will. Someone brought up a really good point yesterday too in the comment section that would it really be that crazy to think that Bitcoin could come back to $6,000 when it was basically there about a year ago? Actually, that's very thought-provoking. You are 100% right. Although that would be uncharacteristic for Bitcoin to come back down and base below prior cycle highs after breaking them. That hasn't really happened in the history of Bitcoin, so that would be a little bit concerning. Anyways, I'm getting off topic right now. I think it's time to get into the comment section here. Let me turn this baby on. Let me get over to here and see what Pedro and Elsa have for me. All right, sweet one. Miral Gandhi says, hey, good sir. What's up, good sir? Your thoughts on El Salvador and now Paraguay? Paraguay's done it too? Holy fuck, that was fast. That's truly amazing. Okay, so let me read out this comment because I didn't know this. So Miral says, your thoughts on El Salvador and now Paraguay announcing Bitcoin as a currency. And I'm guessing that means that they are going to be accepting it as legal tender, because I do remember that El Salvador yesterday was the first country to add Bitcoin to their balance sheet. That's incredibly compelling. And again, it kind of, it opens up the doors, right? You get one domino falling, and now it's all eyes on that, country. And as long as they don't fucking implode, perhaps, it encourages other countries to be a little bit more courageous and take a step in that direction as well. That's amazing, man. That's actually really, really awesome. I had no idea that Paraguay was doing it as well, but sweet, man. It looks like Southern American countries. Or is Paraguay a Southern American country? I don't know. I think it is. I don't fucking know, man. I'm an American, okay? We don't know geography, and we basically don't know anything outside of America. And in fact, one time Elsa was Elsa was an American. Someone asked her where she's from, and she said Finland. She's like, where is that? It's like, is that even real? It's like, yeah, exactly. That's fucking awesome, though. That is real world adoption, and that is what I believe is going to be the focus of this cycle. If we really are going to see this asset class kind of take over and legitimize itself, we've seen institutions, first, it started off with just your everyday person, I guess, or the cyberpunks, the true heroes within this world, in my opinion, and then it kind of evolved into, I guess, more established traders and some low tier quant firms and whatnot, and then it started to evolve into major institutions, started to get onto major exchanges as well, and now we're seeing fucking countries adopt it. I mean, that's That's about as good as it can get, in my opinion. That's really, really good shit. I don't have anything to say that's anything, out of the ordinary. Like, I'm basically going to think that that's generally good, and that's awesome, man. That's fucking awesome. Amadeo Ciano says Solana is everything. Do you want to look at Solana? Solana? Yeah, we can look at Solana. How about Solana US Derp over here? And we'll go to this one right here. And oh yeah, powerful Solana. Again, another altcoin, looking pretty damn good here. And I'm sure that it probably doesn't have hidden bullish evidence, because the problem with this chart is that it's just been straight to the upside. So where's your last real local load? Be way the fuck on over here. And so we didn't necessarily put that in, but ultimately this is an uptrend. This is obviously a reaccumulation at a high level. This is a very, 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 very good chart. I wouldn't be surprised to see this one gun for new highs over the next couple weeks. See with actually the bi-weekly strong, man. If this thing came back down to like 29 or 30 bucks, that would be a major opportunity in my eyes. This one very likely does try at least for the prior time high, sometime maybe later this month or early July, and does it break it overall? I don't know if it's ready just yet, but long term, this would be an example of relative strength. Again, alongside what we saw in Cardano, in Ethereum, and what was the other ones that we were looking at? Maybe Kusama, I think, as well. And Matic, yeah, that's it, Matic. And this one actually really, really looking good, popping above the range highs. Very, very good. Short term, let's see, 4 hours just continue. Hey, whoa! We got a 4-hour golden cross, baby. It's green dildo party time. I'll be looking for this one to pop up to about 46 bucks, maybe maybe a wick higher than that. It's looking good. It's looking pretty damn good, man. Spencer Smith says, by the way, so hey, appreciate that, Spencer. Much love, sir. I salute you. Scott Carney says 1,000 likes and beard comes off challenge. Fuck no. How about this? How about if this video gets 1,000 likes, Scott Carney has to, I don't know, shave his pubes and put him on his face. There you go. By the same token, how about you remove some of your ribs and suck your dick? Sorry, Scott. I this is all with respect. If anyone's tuning in and thinking that like I'm picking on Scott, like we have a long running relationship now, and hopefully he's taking this in good stride. I salute you, sir. Hey, what's up, Second Domino? Hey, Second Domino. Actually, a really good name for this particular conversation. Welcome to the cave, sir. Spencer Smith says, amen. H-bar, new type of staking. Okay, any time frame. Thoughts on me holding almost 1,000 of them since inception? I'm just for the dash roast. Just for the dash roast. Is Dash even a thing anymore? Okay, so you're talking about H-bar. Okay, H is Hedera Derpgrash or something. H-bar. Yeah, here we go. Versus US dollar, and let's go to, I don't know, maybe a daily. So it sounds like you're long term. You've been holding this since inception, you say? So you're just at break even. Oh no, we're actually below break even. Fuck. 35. I mean, I assume when you say inception, like probably somewhere down around here at about like 3.5 cent region. Again, this one would not be one of the relatively strong ones. This one's trading a little bit more on par with Bitcoin, but just like Bitcoin, I do think that has a little bit of short-term upside here. Short-term, 24.5 cent. But you seem to be more long-term involved in this, and to me, this weekly is putting a pivot right here. I would be looking for this one to trade back to about 31.5 cent. Here's the thing, though, it's a little bit more difficult to get excited about. Just like on Bitcoin, I do think that any sort of a price action below 50,000 bucks is still just long-term range over the summer. Same thing on this one. This one can range between about 36 cent highs, and I'd probably move up the low side of this to the low side of this range right here at about 24.25. Probably for a while here. I mean, remember, we did see this market, really just zoom like crazy, like fucking madman to the upside. So I imagine it's going to take a long time to kind of resolve itself, and the longer the better. Again, if you want to be bullish on this asset, this is pretty stock standard stuff. With looking at something like this, you have a 3-month long distributed phase right here. You're not going to see that resolved in 3 to 4 weeks right here. We're still in month number 1, except at the end of this week, we're pretty much, I guess we have month number 1 in the books, in only 2 to 4 more to go. But ultimately, if Bitcoin were to do the same thing, we'd really want to see it like base off here for a while. Again, between about 32,000 and 50,000 bucks the upside, and the longer that it bakes within there, the better in my experience. And perhaps this could actually test around all-time highs, and maybe make new all-time highs, around the end of the year. Definitely still possible. I wouldn't rule that out. There's still a decent amount of hope. I mean, for all that's worth, the weekly is still in an uptrend here. I mean, that hasn't been very profitable to trade against the weekly trend. in Bitcoin's history ever, actually, ever. But the trend can reverse. And where is the trend not going to be your friend? Well, if we pop up here and put in a lower high on the weekly, you got your first etchings of a downtrend on the weekly. That would be quite nasty. And then if we do come down below 32,000 bucks, then you got your lower lows. And then you actually have full-on confirmation of a trend reversal. And that's at the point when everyone starts filling out applications once again for real jobs. FH says, could you please share your thoughts of Pluton? Okay. PLU, daily and 4 hour. All right. Plurton. Is this like a rave coin or something? Fucking bullshit plur. Okay, not as interesting as a lot of other things that we've seen, but do we have a bit of an inverted head and shoulders going on in the lows right here? It looks like so, yes. Here's a resolution point to the upside, right around your range, has about 8.25, we'll say. Above there, I would be looking for a run somewhere around about 10.25 to 11. And you do technically have a higher low right here as well, as long as you do held about 630. So I would, again, this one is a little bit more on the relatively weak side in comparison to the rest of the market, but I do think that you have a little bit of short-term upside here as well. 4 hour probably trades back up somewhere around the mid to low $7 territory, and then above this region right here, you will have a resolution, and very likely trade a little bit north of $10 once again, I do believe. So I'd more or less watch Bitcoin on this one. It's just going to be more obvious with its own direction, but these things are going to more or less trade together. It looks like it's not one of the strong, nor one of the, it's kind of on the weaker side, I suppose, if you really put it to the test. But it's just easy to watch other things. Mohammed Shaikh says, good morning, sir. Hey, good morning to you too, man. Thoughts on Woo USDT 4 hour and daily? Sure, man. Okay, Woo. It's like the Ric Flair crypto. Woo Trade Network. What the fuck am I looking at, man? What the fuck is my life? Actually popping above the range highs, so this one would be a little more on the side of relatively oh wow, yeah, very, very conclusive move right here. Now short term, does it sell off on the prior wick highs of this this very nasty downtrend? It probably does, but let's see if we already got that here. Yeah, it looks like we already did kind of get this. No, this one's ready to roll, baby, or at least I think that it's ready to roll. I'd be looking for this one to trade up somewhere around about 92.5 cent. About 92.5 cent, maybe even all the way to about 102 region. Daily's very, very good right here. Whether this one comes back down to like 75 cent or not on a daily schedule, I don't have a strong opinion on that. My strong opinion is on this one. This one's looking actually relatively strong. Daily momentum oscillators are fine here too. Daily RSI strong, or I wouldn't say strong, but it's certainly a bullish reset, rejecting the bearish control zone. Good. Daily TSI, I want to see that get into the bullish buy zone, but for what it's worth right now, it is crossed the upside. So overall, okay. So yeah. All right, sweet. Scott Carney says, Ricey daily, back to $3 possible. This sort of commentary always gets me. Hey, this Rolls Royce, that's right. Back to $3 possible. Well, you only need about a 2x from there, but this is not a crypto, so it doesn't get to move like a fucking popcorn piece of shit. But it's exhibiting some tendencies of lows. I fucking stutter all over myself. Look, man, this chart is just dog shit. I mean, this is certainly the worst chart that we've seen today thus far, which is really unfortunate, man, because Rolls-Royce would seem like a cool car company, but actually one of the guys on the floor actually had one, and it was actually like really, really cool. I'm not a car guy, but I did definitely enjoy admiring that car. Anyway, so looking at this one right here, yeah, you do have a bit of a short form bottom. I mean, you do have obviously a change of behavior on the volume here too. It's very likely to put in a rally. You do see monthly TSI trying to turn up for the first time in like literally years, since going back to November 2018, and you have hit 100 percentile on monthly BBWP, which is almost I never see that. You really have to have like a long form history of this. I do think you have some upside here. Probably does trade back up to like, I don't know, 2.25, maybe 2.5. But look, man, even there you got your downtrend coming in. So does it pop back up to $3? Possible, yes, but you got a lot of work to do before then. So I would take things one step at a time. 2.25 to 2.5 is where I'd be looking towards. And then probably bases again. As it stands right now, I mean, this is still just a chart of a relevant shitcoin as far as I'm concerned. With short-term upside, Daily Jewel is giving a buy signal as well, but that one's it's still lifting off there. So I think I do think that you still have some more on that one. Michael Crook says, "Hey, Krown, what's up, man? Can you check out PD stock? I want to short it from 36. It's downtrend. The weekly just went negative on MACD. Can you check 1 and 4 hour daily? Okay, PD stock. Okay, so one of the obvious trades that I'd actually always like in traditional markets was a weekly reversal and then weekly MACD, and usually you can trade with confidence on that. Okay, so you're saying I want to short it from $36. So where is 36 right here? That'd be right around the actually a little bit below the 200 simple on this one. I don't know. Do you pop all the way? Actually, no, it's right around that 377. Jesus, man, this one's really beat up. I do think that this one will bounce up a little bit, and if you want a short entry, you can probably get in somewhere around like $36 to $37. Anywhere around there is fine. I like this is this is not a good chart right here. Okay, so you got weekly TSI about to fresh turn down. You got weekly RSI giving 1-2 drives of hidden bearish divergence. Look, you know, the problem with a weekly trade here is that I do think you probably will bounce off this level once again, like 33 and a third. Long term, does it break it down? It's looking like yes. I mean, as long as you're up and down these lower highs right here, it's not the picture of health and fitness, and this one is, for all that it's worth, in a very long-term macro, just lower high structure, so I don't like that. But ultimately, it depends how much downside you're looking towards. I do think that you probably open up on an up note here, probably sometime this week, and then you trade down here, and then probably bounce around here again. I don't think that you're ready to break this one down just yet. Maybe after a little bit more time being spent within this consolidation, if it even is going to break down in totality anyways, but it's going to be like a long trade essentially is what I'm saying. So it depends how long you're really going to be working on something like that. And sorry, this is the daily right here. Let's look at the weekly. So weekly looking the same. Weekly's not looking as bad, to be fair. It's actually not looking as bad, but yes, I would be looking for it to test this region once again. Probably bounces off it as well. 4 hour, yeah, opens up on a bounce very likely. By the way, that's what I fucking forgot to talk about. It was traditional markets. Traditional markets also kind of helping out the Bula case for Bitcoin, at least short and medium term, as we do see Nasdaq. Actually still ranging, but that is the weaker of the big three here. But daily still says that while we probably do have a little bit of maybe short-term downside of like 13,680 or 13,700-ish region, I would be looking for this one to follow the rest of them as it typically does. Momentum oscillators are in a more bullish posturing here. We do see SPY is already having a bit of that pullback, but I do believe that this one will get picked back on up. We probably do actually maybe even see new all-time highs this week after a little bit of a short-term maybe backfill in last week open. 4206, 4210 region, it's completely fine. And same thing on Dow Jones here too. Same thing. So maybe a little bit of a short-term pullback result by very likely another try towards perhaps new all-time highs. Dropbox weekly giant cup and handle forming. Okay, Dropbox. I don't know the ticker for this, so I'm just going to try Drewbox. That's what it really should be called. Let's see. How the fuck is this thing trading? It's not a bad chart, actually. This is actually pretty damn good. This one went through about 2 years of accumulation between about 2019 and more recently in March 2021. Getting now its first markup, it looks like. This is actually pretty damn good. Let's see. Whoops, wrong one right here. Let's throw this baby on. There you go. I like it above the range highs. Giant cup and handle forming. You know, you can put any sort of... Look, you can call this whatever you want to call it. This is quite literally a trend reversal is what it is. Is it a giant cup and handle forming? It's an accumulation phase. Call it whatever you want to call it. You could call it all sorts of things, but you got your higher lows. You start to see volume picking up a little bit as it does break the range highs. Good. I think that this one's actually been resolved like this month. Probably does trade up to like 31.5, maybe more over time. Again, long term, it really depends how long you're looking, but monthly is good too. This one is ready to me. This one is ready actually. So Dropbox actually looking okay. Short term, maybe has a little bit of a pullback, but I don't think you're looking for short term. It sounds like as you're talking about the weekly there. Abidynamics is appreciate that, man. Massively appreciate that, man. Good tidings to you, my friend. I've never even said that before in my life. Couldn't think of something better, Mr. Abbott, but I salute you, sir. White Lotus of Light says, regarding Bitcoin conference, I appreciate a lot about you, brother. I especially appreciate your hey, man, appreciate that, man. Yeah. Look, man, you know, it's just for me, it's sometimes a bit frustrating because I can totally understand why people outside of the Bitcoin community can look at it as a cult, because I mean it has a lot of etchings of a cult, but there is a lot of very, very amazing things about this asset as well. And it's just, I would hope that people don't feel the need to play up bullshit. Krown is a low class Jewy Jew. Fair enough, man. Should have got me in the Holocaust, but you fucking failed, bitch. Anyways, yeah, man, you know, the whole thing with that is that, you know, when you have something that is, you know, good on its own merits, you have to let it stand on its own merits, and you should invite criticism for it as well, because that is how you figure out, you know, what's going to be good about it and what's going to be bad about it. And so I would say that if you are a Bitcoin maximalist, which maybe I consider myself one, I don't know, but if you are, you should invite toxicity, or you should invite criticism, because that's where you can really prove yourself. If you don't prove yourself by like fucking, you know, raising the flag and just outright proclaiming your virtues, no, you have to prove them. Your actions matter. And for Bitcoin, you prove your actions by, well, while getting some financial education. And that's the problem with our school system, man, is that we learn all this stuff, some of it useful, some of it very unuseful. In fact, I'd say the vast majority of it is very unuseful. But as far as financial education, we get pretty much none. And that's why people don't understand our current system. That's why they think, this whole system is like, we need to replace it with Bitcoin. I mean, I think that's bullshit as well. Like, Bitcoin's not going to take over as like an everyday purchase. I mean, I think anyone with a fucking brain already knows that. Where it likely finds its place is as a treasury asset, which is great. Because that has a lot of value within it, because you have to understand how our economy is working, how it's built. Our economy is essentially built so that fiat currencies are inflationary so that it can promote spending. And then you have assets which you actually store your value in, which are deflationary. And the inflation rate should typically be gobbled up by the asset appreciating. And that's typically how things do work out. Now, there's much better people to go to than me for this. In fact, I didn't even learn this stuff until later in my 20s. This is like, you really have to go out of your way to fucking read this kind of shit. But people like Robert Kiyosaki, although I've a lot, I wouldn't fully endorse him in many other ways, but as far as his ideology, I think that's very worthwhile. He has a lot of great guests for that. Also Michael Saylor. If you actually listen to Michael Saylor, he is less of a fucking gung-ho just green dildo like fuckface. More so he's incredibly intelligent, and he can explain these things when he actually gets down into real conversations where people are asking the right questions. He explains these things in the most eloquent and most powerful way. And if you can listen to that, you will understand why assets are important and why Bitcoin as an asset is important and why you want Bitcoin to be an asset, because that's how our economy is set up right now. And so I'll just kind of leave it right there. Again, I'm not an expert in that vein, but hey, there he is. Pedro's over here. Yeah, it is. Paraguay is in Brazil, or it's next to Brazil. There we go. Okay, sweet one. Nice one. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Pedro. Fucking awesome, man. Do we have any other mods here? We got Pedro, we got Elsa. Anyone? Do we have Caretaker and Nimbo? I don't know if they're awake right now, but let's let them sleep for one day. How about that? All right, Stylix here says, I see nothing about Paraguay in the news. I haven't either, to be fair, but I'm just reading the comments, so I'll have to look into that after the stream, so fair enough. Good point bringing that up, Stylix here. Jack Asselman says, good morning. Hey, what's up, man? Ethereum, Bitcoin, 12 hours, and weekly, sure. All right, let's see what we got over here. Okay, Ethereum, Bitcoin right here. All right, sweet. Yeah, actually breaking out of the short form accumulation range. I'd be looking for this one to run back up towards the prior highs. I stick with what I've been saying over the past few weeks here. That was a major opportunity. This one is still long-term macro bullish. There's nothing bearish about this fucking chart long-term. Short-term, can you have ebbs and flows? Yes, absolutely. But the monthly tells all right here. And the monthly, I would still be I'd be very unsurprised to see this back above about 0.1, maybe even 0.12. Within like the next 6 months, I'd imagine. This is looking very, very good here. And this is also another point in the Boo Law's long-term court, because we have always seen Ethereum Bitcoin pairing on an uptrend in macro bull markets. So this is, yet again, another decent thing. And daily's just turning up all around the same side as well after kind of resolving the short-term range. We do see daily TSI turning up right here, daily RSI's playing out hidden bullish divergence back into the bullish control zone. That's also good. Yeah, I'd be looking for this one to pop up short-term, somewhere around about 8 million Satoshis, and then probably continues on over the next few months. Very, very good chart. Very fucking good chart right there. Anyways, Nate, hey, what's up, Nate? Good Monday to you as well, man. Good Monday to you as well. Can you check out CEC on, oh, that's German. Okay. All right, man. You always have these off the wall ones, but let's see what you got right here. Ooh, baby. Nate's got it once again, man. Just listen to, if you're trading traditional markets, just listen to Nate, man. He finds all the breakouts. Now, I fucking hate trading breakouts, but this is certainly a breakout right here. We do have a fallen channel being resolved to the upside. I don't really care for these formations in Bitcoin land, although they do have a decent degree of playing out. In traditional land, however, they're pretty damn good. Short term, I'll be looking for this one to trade back up somewhere right around here, probably play out a little bit of a short-term pullback. Then obviously your other big pivots are going to be right here, and then your prior high of this rally. Long-term though, is this one actually ready to go? That's where I become a little bit less certain on this one, because you do see that the highs of this rally thus far are essentially still operating in a lower high macro structure. That also does imply that if we actually take out this region coming in all the way back from here, then this thing very likely goes on a fucking tear. I don't know what the hell this stock is, but overall, it is showing some good signs right here, but I need to see the daily follow through, and I would feel comfortable being macro bullish on it actually, as long as it maintains above basically like the what is it, like $5 we'll call it, make it a little bit easier right there. completely fine. So higher term timeframes look like they have at least medium term upside and then potential to continue on for like an actual mega run right there. It's actually looking pretty good. Also, will you get early access to Warhammer 3? I will be getting early access to Warhammer 3 Minute, and I will fucking stream it, of course, man. Of course. But, man, you know what I'm really excited for? Tomorrow, Chivalry 2. I'm going to be playing the absolute shit out of that. Elsa's laughing now, too, but she's going to be the one who's editing all the videos. So how's that, you bitch? Anyways, Pablo South says, bonjour, bonjour, sir. Can you look at Nucor, hourly and daily? Sure. Symbol, I think it's NUE. Yeah, it is NUE. All right. You're looking at hourly and daily, or hourly and weekly, or hourly and daily. Daily's looking good for a continuation of this run. Hourly is already doing it. Yep, I'd be looking for this one to short term pop back up to about 111ish region. Daily, let's see what the long term looks like. It is that new optimized. Yes. I remember this chart. We've been looking at this one for a while. Yeah, man, this one's a macro breakout going back to February of 08. Man, this is very fucking good. I think I have a measure move up here all the way up to like 145 or 140 long term. Maybe even goes a more over time as well. But that's a very long term chart right there, of course. So not happening like today or tomorrow, but all time frames are essentially bullish there. Abaddon says, Krown, any pro tips on preventing or recognizing tilt rather before it gets too bad, and how to redirect yourself if you sense it happening? Thanks. Hope you and Elsa are well. Oh man. Okay. So I love these types of questions because I feel like, I just feel like trading psychology isn't spoken about enough. And for myself, that was like a big piece of my puzzle getting this whole fucking thing together. Anyways, the question is, any pro tips on preventing, just tips will do, on presenting or recognizing tilt. Okay, so tilt is a poker terminology basically stating that when you start to get on like a losing streak, you typically will go into like a downward spiral where you will continue to make more and more bad decisions. I think the phrase goes something like you throw good money after bad money. Now, look, here's the thing. When it comes to recognizing tilt, you have to understand that within the context of trading or poker, for that example, in the way that I understand it, I'm not a poker player myself, so I can't speak from that, although I do know several who actually make very good traders. And in both of those games, they are statistically based, right? If you're using technical analysis as your edge, you can't be fucking perfect, or at least I'm unaware of in my whole career of anyone who's been perfect for the entirety of their career. And with that in mind, you do have to come within the sort of ideology that there is a non-zero probability that whatever edge that you're using is at least going to have a non-zero probability of not working. So that means that you have to plan for, or you at least have to understand, psychologically speaking, that there will be losses. Just like the movie There Will Be Blood with your P&L. So with that in mind, when you get on tilt, you are only going to potentially get in the way of you playing out strategies that might actually work for yourself. So understand that losses are to be expected. You should expect losses, and you should know about the percentage of what your losses are going to be anyways, right? Because if you have followed, the plan, essentially, you should have back tested your particular strategy for at least 20 to 30 iterations. The more, the better, obviously. And you should have a good idea of, how often it's supposed to work out versus how often it's not supposed to work out. Once you have that, you should know that when you take a loss, while it can be, it's not like, obviously you're not happy that you took a loss, it is a part of the plan, and it is a cost of doing business, essentially. And if you get on tilt and you start to make decisions that are influenced by that tilt, that emotional state, where you no longer follow your strategy, then you are no longer playing towards your potential statistical advantage with your edge, and now you are going to enter into that downward spiral. So how do you recognize something like that? So basically the question is, how do you become more aware? Because what we're dealing with here is we're coming with the assumption again that your strategy has actually been back tested, it works. That's all good. You've probably filled out the trade checklist. You've been here for a while, so I trust that you probably already have, or at least done something similar to that. So this is specifically, it's not a strategy thing. Like we could obviously address that as well, but I'm going to assume that you've already got that down. This is specifically psychologically speaking then. So if that's the case, how do you become more aware? Well, there's several ways to become more aware of your personal tilt, if you will. And one of the ways would obviously be, as we go over to Bitcoin's chart over here, one of the ways would obviously be like meditation, becoming more aware of your internal thoughts so that you can separate who you are as a person from the thoughts that are going on in your mind. That is the tangible sort of value of, of taking up meditation as a practice. You become more aware of your thoughts and you distance yourself from them. And while you still feel your thoughts and you feel your emotions, because obviously you're a fucking human being, the idea isn't to get away from that. It's to just understand it, put a label on it, say, oh, I recognize I'm feeling in that way where I become emotional. Then it's time to step back, because I know that if I trade through this state and I don't follow my plan, I'm only going to put myself in a deeper hole. If you can recognize that, that would be a damn good place to start. Now, of course, a lot of people don't want to do that, and for fair enough, that's fair enough. So what are some more tangible things that you can apply if you don't want to go through the rigmarole of doing that, which is going to take a long time anyways? Go take a shit ton of shrooms. That'll do it. No, that actually will work, but it's probably not the best idea. And I definitely do not suggest doing that. Wink, wink. It's going to be legalized anyways. So what's a more tangible way of taking care of that? Okay, how about this? Every time that you take a loss, take a day off. Take maybe 2 days off. Let yourself come back into your emotional state normality, where you can make those logical decisions and, more importantly, follow your plan. Now, maybe you even do feel bad. Maybe you get emotional about it, but you still play out your plan. That's completely fine. The problem is when you deviate from your plan, and when you deviate from your plan, or you're more likely to deviate from your plan when you get into that emotional state. That's the issue with it. So recognition of that state, and then, or perhaps a more tangible, just like cut it off right now. I know that anytime I take a loss, I need to step back from my trading terminal. I turn down the computer for, a day or two, whatever it ends up being, maybe a week sometimes. If I take a major loss, if I take like a major rattling loss, what I do is I just don't trade for like a week or two, and I just kind of like think about my own strategies, and I make sure that like, okay, I need to prove this to myself again that this actually fucking works, and maybe that strategy is no longer viable in the way that I wanted to play out. That's possible too. So it's recognition and understanding first, and then action second. So again, we are assuming that you actually have a workable plan to begin with. If you don't, then this is not going to work for you. It's not going to matter how much you fucking meditate. It's not going to matter how much you visualize the secret. It doesn't, it's bullshit. It's not going to do anything for you. It's only if you already have a plan in place, and for whatever reason, when you get onto a losing streak, you become emotional, which causes you to throw good money after bad money, or bad money after good money. I don't know what the saying is, but my point is that, the deeper that you go into that, the bigger hole that you have to dig yourself out of, and the best way to dig yourself out of the hole is to not dig yourself in the first place. The second best way to dig yourself out of the hole once you're in there is with awareness and essentially re-strategizing in this case. So hopefully that was helpful. If that wasn't in the exact way that you were postulating that question, let me know, because this is a topic that I can go many different directions on, but specifically with the way that you're saying that, that's how to answer that. Zeo Storm says, hey, Krown, can you check out BQX BTC daily and weekly? Sure. All right, BQX daily weekly. Let's see. Okay, you're probably looking at BTC, weren't you? Yeah, you were looking at. Well, the daily actually looks good for some short-term upside. Got some BQX BTC over here. Should we do the Superman? Is it Superman time? Shit, it's an hourly. It's not that bullish. All right, well, daily's actually fine here too. Yeah, this one also kind of getting reaccumulated right here. Range lows obviously right around the daily 200. Range highs right around here. I think that you're going to go for a run a little bit short term towards about maybe 8,700. And probably continuation to the range highs about 9,600, and then above there you could probably look for another move back up towards 13,000, maybe even beyond. See what the long term looks like. Yeah, long term, this one, while everything else was rallying to the moon and beyond, wasn't able to get back up towards its prior time highs, but this is obvious reaccumulation right around this region right here. This chart is not bearish, at least for what it's worth right here. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing pop back up towards the high of this run and maybe even beyond over time. It's okay. It's okay, sir. All right, Abitemic says, bless you, sir. Also, I can't streamline your stake process, but I can help you make the best you've ever had in your life if you're not feeling lazy. Look, here's the thing. I absolutely fucking love red meat, man, but I am not a hard customer to please. I will eat anything, man. But if it is going to be good, and if it doesn't require me to do a whole hell of a lot of effort besides putting the meat on the skillet, I'm in, baby. I'm in. Vincer Patroso says PHA-USD. Okay. Not familiar with this one. PHA-USD. Okay, let's see what this thing is. decent chart over here. Again, weekly closing above all major moving averages, at least for the ones that we can even populate on something that, you know, that is this new. Look, it's very likely fine here. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing pop back up to, what is this, 4th of June highs. This one is obviously getting reaccumulated as well. This one trades with the rest of the market relatively strong in comparison to Bitcoin right now as it pops above the median of the range. You know, above this level right here, I'd be looking for another run at the highs, and probably does go on for another melt towards new all-time highs. I mean, there's not really too much to be speaking about this because not a whole hell of a lot of history on this. Hidden bullish divergence on that last low already confirmed. Yeah, I'd be looking for this one to pop back up and probably continue to new highs. Monthly is looking okay for right now, but goddamn, we have a lot left to go. 4 hours, about to have a golden, or actually already has a golden cross. So yeah, and obviously a reaccumulation right here after popping above the range highs. Yep, this is good. This is clear and obvious reaccumulation. Short term, medium term, and long term, all looking decent there. You're saying 4 hour daily. Okay, we got that. Dan says, Krown, you are giving me real FOMO, but no hash ribbon. We spoke about the hash ribbons already, sir. Again, you know, if you're just looking at straight up Bitcoin, you know, there's still, look, hold on. They're really, hopefully that's just kind of like a joke or troll comment. But while I do think that Bitcoin has upside here, remember, Bitcoin is, at least in my opinion, risky as long as you're below about $50,000. I would still mostly be looking for a range between about $30,000 and $50,000. The same shit that I've been saying for the last month or so now. You know, for maybe 2 to 3 months outside of this territory here. So I don't know if you're I don't know if you're joking or not, but hopefully I'm actually not inducing FOMO, because that would not be what I'd want to be espousing right now. You know, at the end of the day, man, play out your plan, regardless of whatever the fuck I say. Hopefully what I'm saying over here is in some way valuable and can be used to enhance whatever you have already decided to do for yourself. Hambone Crypto says, morning ZIL USD 4 hour daily. Okay, so this is Zilla, whatever the fuck on Binance. Let's see, 4 hours okay. Definitely not relatively strong. Certainly on the relatively weaker side of the schedule here in comparison to the ones that already popped above range highs, but this one very likely to follow through as well. Range high is going to be right around here, 14.5 or so. Above there, I would be looking for this one to pop up all the way to the prior breakdown region of about 17.5. As long as you're above the 200 simple on the daily, which is 11.5 cent, I would play this one more or less medium term upside. And very short term timeframes like the 4 hour. Yeah, I mean, we do have a higher low structure right here as well. BBWP, very, 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 very low. We're probably looking at a move relatively soon. If that comes to the upside, yep, 14.25 is your natural target. Potential continuation above there, depending upon daily closure. Looks fine. Again, most things are going to trade with each other here. Kyle Yale says, thoughts on Algorand. This one is... Okay, this one's interesting because I remember it was from like 2016 or 2017. All right, I think it's actually symbol Algo maybe. Let's see. Let's see what this one's ended up. I'm curious what the long term looks like on this one. Yeah, again, not my favorite chart of all time, but it looks like it wants to follow everything else. Definitely not relatively strong, but everything else is kind of getting a free pass right here. So I'd be looking for this one to pop back up. Range highs about 111.5. Above 111.5, especially on a daily closure, or a wick higher than the range. Oh, Jesus Christ. We only need a couple of trend lines right here. Or a wick higher than the range highs, which is, what is it? About, 115.25. I'd be looking for another momentous move up to about 132 to 135 region. Daily RSI is fine. Daily TSI is a little bit weak, but still posture towards the upside right here too. Again, same thing, on this one, as long as it's above about the 200 exponential average in this case, you do have a higher low in place, and it looks like it's getting ready for a bit of a move to the upside here. Very short-term timeframes, yeah, looks fine here, man. I'd be looking for a short-term move up to about 110 or so. Looks okay. Hey, what's up, Shahar? Mr. Epstein, there he is. Hey, bro, look at Elon. Just bought 800 million 2 years, and I'm rich. Wait, what? Is this a thing? Is this a thing? Wait, Elon? Is this? Oh my God, it is a fucking thing. God damn it. Oh, this fucking market, man. Dog Elon. Are you fucking kidding? Wait, thanks, Elon. Elon the dog. Fuck Elon. Oh my God. How the hell did this get on TradingView? Which one, man? There's so many of them. I don't know. I don't know which one to go to. Maybe Polonius one. This one looks like shit. Oh my Lord, man. That is the worst shot that we've seen today for sure. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Oh, this is good, man. This is good. Keenan Bryan says, okay, Scott, we have a new proposition for you, sir. 1,000 likes, and you have to sell all of your BFARF. By the way, let's look at BFARF here. All right, Scott. It's still holding the uptrend, man. So we actually did get our move to the downside last week too. Hey, nice one. As long as it teeters upon this, man, I still look for long-term upside, I suppose. A little bit on the weaker side, yes, but it should get picked up here. It looks like. Iman Dean says, "Can you check out Euro Cop, please?" Okay, Euro versus Cop. Is this a thing? Euro Cop. I don't know what this is, man. Do you mean copper versus euro? Maybe you mean copper versus euro. All right, let's see. Maybe cop euro. Cope. Do you mean cope? I don't know where you're going on this one. I see cope. I see other things. Let's see. Wait. Hold on. No, it's euro versus cop. Nothing's popping up on that one, man. So I'm inclined to say euro cop. Yeah, I'm inclined to say that I don't have anything to look at here for you, unless you're looking at like copper futures, but you just say copper if that was the case. Feel free to correct me on that, man, but unfortunately I can't pull up whatever you're trying to look at there, because I'm not exactly sure what you are trying to look at. Super Googly says, "Hello, sir. What's up, man? Am I insane to keep buying Bitcoin each week, yet shorting it over 10 times in the last month?" Wait, hold on. Okay, so you're saying that you keep on buying Bitcoin each week and then you short it over 10 times in the last month. I English, motherfucker. I don't know. I don't know what you're exactly saying. Okay, so you're buying Bitcoin, but then you're shorting it over 10 times in the last month. I'm guessing you're buying spot and then shorting on margin. I don't know. Maybe you're just cuffing yourself. That's completely fine. I don't see anything wrong with that, but I don't know what you're actually saying. But you are asking for UniBTC 4-hour daily plays. Yeah. Okay. We can look at that. UniBTC over here on Binance, and you're looking at 4-hour daily. Daily's fine. Daily very likely pops back up to range, or basically the highs. Yeah, the highs in this case. Probably about 80,000 Satoshis. 4-hour short term. Short term looks fine here too. Actually basing out, again, higher low structure. Always going to like that. We do have range highs right here. Very obvious, right around about 76,250. Range lows coming in right, well, I mean, it's higher lows right now, so it's something more like this. But overall, yeah, man, I'd be looking for this one to have a short-term move back up to the top side of this. Probably continuation as well. I mean, this is a good setup on momentum oscillators here too. So I'd probably be looking for a retest of highs. And this one looks like it wants to make new all-time highs on the, on the weekly. I mean, this is pretty decent for what we have right now. Okay, Maral Gandhi says, "My bad on Paraguay. One of the congressmen only said they have Bitcoin and PayPal news event this week." Okay, fair enough. All right, so looks like we overstated the Paraguay news, but perhaps something very interesting coming in over there. So cool, very very cool. Thank you for following up on that as well, man. That is very helpful and awesome. Go Lucky says, "Hi, bruv. There's a death cross for Link USD on the 12-hour. Do these usually play out?" Well, let's go check it out. Yeah, a lot of people are talking about a death cross on Bitcoin as well, and they're just completely fucking wrong about it. Look, I can totally understand why people hate on moving averages, because most people just have no fucking clue on how to use them. Okay, is there a death cross on the 12-hour for Link? Well, let's see. Yes, there is right here. Do I think that this one's going to play out? Okay, so here's a rule. If you want to make your moving average cross plays 10 billion times more effective, 10 fucking billion times more effective, here's what you can do. You can employ two different rules. Okay, so the first rule is you don't trade against the actual trend in this case. In this case right here, you do have a higher low, you do have lower highs, it's consolidating. I wouldn't necessarily say that this is the best example of a cross. Also, the cross itself is happening somewhat far away from price action. Not a major issue on this one, because it's somewhat close in the vicinity. But the next one, this next piece of information, I'm actually thinking of doing a video on, just because like people would not hate on moving average cross if they actually fucking understand this. Look, when you have a strong trending momentous move, a strong move over a long period of time, when you have a strong move like this over a long period of time, the first cross that is contra to the overall trend is usually going to be a failure, or at the very least, if it does play out, it only gets you back down to range lows. The second cross after a long trending move that is contra to that trend, that's typically the one that actually will play out. And if not the third one, those ones are the ones that have very, 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 very high probability of actually leading on to a full-on reversal and, in a long-term move in this case. But in this case right here, this is your first cross to the downside after being up the whole way ever since April of 2020. So we're talking about a year long. That's a long time for myself on a 12-hour. So yeah, man. And also, accompany this by a higher low right here too in the making. I'd argue that this is less of an issue. Now, if you see another rejection on a lower high, let's say like around 31 and 80-ish region, that's at the point where, okay, perhaps this does actually play out, but in this case right here, it looks to me like it's probably going to give another try back up. And if you do see any sort of a closure above 32.5, wherever the 200 is right here, yeah, it's about 32.5, that is going to be a fake out, and you're going to see a move very likely into the deep 30s, maybe low 40s or so. All right. Let's see. Bitcoin is king says whose reverse stoke crosses that. KVDBs is not available from search. It is KVDBs actually. So you can contact him in the Discord. El Toro says, hey bud. Bud. What's up, man? Is it a good entry now to a good entry now to enter Cardano? And if it is, where would you see a sell for a good scalp? All right, man. So I haven't seen you before, and I want to say first, hey, good to meet you. Second, this is a fucking terrible question, man. And please do not take this personally right now. But when you postulate a question like this, saying, is it a good entry now to enter Cardano? And if it is, where would you sell for a good scalp? You haven't even given a fucking time frame. Not only that, first off, I can't give out financial advice because this is not fucking financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, and that's actually quite literally illegal. So I feel kind of bizarre about that. But more importantly, I wouldn't be able to give you good financial advice to begin with. You don't even have a fucking time frame, man. I know nothing about your risk tolerance. I know nothing about where you plan on managing risk for a position like this. I'm not going to do your goddamn trade for you, is what I'm trying to say. Now, with that in mind, I can look at Cardano, I could give you an opinion on it, but without any specifics on that, you're probably going to go around the internet just asking people who you think might know better than you for an answer, and at some point someone's going to give you an answer, and I can tell you straight up that will be completely fucking garbage, because anyone who gives you an answer just based off of a question like that, they have very little to go off of. They cannot construct a good plan for you better than without like significant more information. Look, if I'm looking at this right here, Cardano is putting in a bit of a higher low at 165. So if you are going to go long on it, look, I don't know how long you fucking want to hold this. I don't even know what time frame you're goddamn trading, for the love of God. You got a bit of a short-term trade back up to the range highs if you're just looking for a scalp. If you're looking for a long-term trade, maybe you have it here based off the daily, again, using 165 as a bit of a basing point. But again, I don't even know what your fucking risk tolerance is on something like this, man. So it's honestly not wise for me to answer a question like this, because it's only going to promote probably bad things that are going to eventually get you in a shit ton of trouble. And obviously I can be wrong about this as well. So I don't even know what sort of side you're trying to go on this, but short term, yeah, I mean, it's got some upside here, yes, but where are you going to manage risk? Do you know where you're going to manage risk? I mean, I'd say below about 165 is probably the right area for myself, but that's given my own strategies. I don't know what the fuck you're trying to do with this, man. Probably does trade up from here, though. It's one of the better charts, definitely. Hey, what's up, Jeff? A little jealous toast on 3-day Stokes for Ether. Jeebus toast on 3-day Stokes for Ether. 12-hour Jewel looks happy-ish. Hey, man, good to see you, Mr. Jeff. Yeah, we can look at Ethereum here. Let's pull it up. There we go. 2784. Okay, so you're looking at the 12-hour Jewel, and you're looking at Stokes as well. Yeah, we did get a pretty damn good buy signal right here. Same thing happened on Bitcoin about a week ago. Yeah, about a week ago now. I do think it's swinging around for a bit of a hot or long signal. That would be the bullish bias on this. Now you're also looking at 3-day Stokes here too. Let's see what they're doing for Ethereum specifically. Yeah, looking pretty good actually. Gonna have a chance to cross the upside with any sort of a closure above 25.33, which how long do we have to go? It's not going to be happening tonight, but as soon as tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And then, yeah, like I said, I'd be looking for continuation into like the mid to low 3000s-ish region. Would look pretty damn good. So yeah, I do think that the setup is there and it's looking more or less fine. One of the better charts definitely in this market as well. Dr. Bitcoin says, hey, Krown, what's up, man? Can you take a look at GLD? Yeah, man. GLD was actually the what is it called? ETF that actually traded for gold. I've never actually traded gold spot. Looking at this one right here. What are we seeing, baby? What are we seeing? It's actually easier to look at gold in this case, spot. Look, what time frames did you give here? Okay, weekly. Okay, so you are on higher term time frames. I like the monthly. I know you didn't ask about a monthly, but I do think it's warranted in saying, because it sounds like you're more long term. Look, to me, you broke the highs. It's getting reaccumulated along the 21. Pretty damn stock standard stuff. Hidden bullish evidence off that last low. I'd be looking for the monthly, which I don't know how long this takes. Maybe like 2 to 4 months to trade back up to the highs of the past rally and probably continue on to new all-time highs. Let's also look at the quarterly, which will be closing at the end of this month, in fact. And so far, so good, I would say. If that can be a full on buy back up from the last major dump, then there's nothing bearish about that. Looking at the weekly right here, I'm a little bit more perturbed on the weekly, because on the weekly and daily, I could be looking for some short-term downside. This one can easily come back down and base around like low 170s region. But overall, I do like the long term, which is what I think you're asking. However, short term, this one can ebb and flow a little bit here. You got some obvious pivot points to the upside right here. Right around about 183.5, anywhere above there, and I'd be looking for another run at the prior highs and probably beyond as well, depending upon the quarterly closure. But looks more or less fine. Mr. Smith says Theta USD daily, weekly, monthly. Okay, all right. This one used to be one of the stronger ones. See how it's doing now. Okay, so 12-hour, no, daily, weekly, monthly, okay. I don't think that there is a monthly on this thing. It's probably very new. Daily's fine, putting in a higher low above the range high, or above the prior range highs now. I'd be looking for this one to trade back up towards about 1075 region. Weekly is not above all major moving averages, but okay. I do think that this one is going to play out the hidden bullish divergence here, and typically that will test around range highs on the weekly in this case. That's going to be just around $12. And then monthly, let's see what the monthly says. Monthly is not as interesting and not enough history, but if I was just looking at the monthly, it actually would provide a bit of a counterpoint to that. But daily and weekly, as long as you maintain this area right here at about 860-ish region, I do think I do think that you play at that weekly hidden bullish divergence and ultimately test somewhere around like $12, maybe even continue on. I'd consult with the rest of the market too, but this one actually one of the more interesting charts as well. Not the best chart, but one of the more interesting ones definitely. G Concepts, what's up, man? Long-term viewer here. Yeah, man, I remember that name. Remember you used to show your trades before? Yeah, man. Had fun times with that until people started trying to log into my fucking account, which scared the shit out of me, man. And then I spoke with my with my what's it called? With my tax advisor, and they're like, look, why are you showing your fucking trades? You are an idiot. That can only lead to bad things. Like, Jesus Christ. Anyways, you say, just curious, if you were still trading this market like before, am I still trading this market like before? No, because when I was showing my my trades, I was actually trading options against them as well. I can't do that anymore. Dribit actually kicked me off. So unfortunately, I can't use derivative contracts like options, which is my preferred way of trading. So right now it's mostly just scalping. More simplistic trading, unfortunately, but I guess it's the best that I can do for now. Abbott says, thank you very much, sir. The psychological journey is real. Lol. Finally been overcoming it lately, and your playlist is super helpful. Awesome, man. Yeah, I'm really, really happy to hear that. And in your questions, by the way, Abbott, like we'll probably use that as a snippet to make more videos for that as well, because it's stuff that I'm actually like quite passionate about talking because that was my major sticking point with getting into like an actual professional trading mindset. For some people it's not that. For some people it's just, they just need strategy and that's fine for them. But for myself, and I know a lot of others as well, it's like the psychological aspect. So yeah, man, if you have a question, like feel free to posit it because it really helps bring out like better content, I do think. And it forces me to think as well. And while I don't have all the answers, obviously, I can at least share my experience in that regard, which hopefully is helpful. Brian Davis says, for all the gold bugs in chat, just go ahead and look at commodity uranium. Let's be different. Okay. Let's see. What is it? I think it's just symbol URA. Yeah, it is. USD. No, it isn't. Uranium. You probably don't want to look at an ETF because they're going to be like, it's not real. It's not real uranium. It's just fucking paper. Okay. Yeah. Except it's tied to the underline. So there you go. Fucking moron. Sorry. Just kidding. Sorry. I took it a little bit too far there. Look, if you're looking at a uranium right here, this is looking pretty good, you might say. Look, you can see it all in the volume down here. This one's getting ready for a big markup. Over time, I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing pop up to like $30-$40. But that's going to be over time. I mean, that's going to be over like the next fucking half year or so. There will be ebbs and flows on the daily, of course, but this one's just melting up right now. This is getting its markup phase like right here, right now. This is good. Very good, very good. Please explain the pi cycle. What do you mean, please explain the pi cycle? The pi cycle is just an indicator. It's based off of the pi numbers, and it apparently has called a lot of tops and a lot of bottoms, or not necessarily bottoms, but a lot of tops in Bitcoin's history. There's nothing magical about it except for the fact that it apparently works pretty damn well, and Mr. Moron discounted it to my own peril. But yeah, man, looking at all of these, got this high right here, got this high right here. Yeah, this high right here. Got this high right here. It's kind of hard to argue with the results. I really wanted to poo-poo this idea, but that was completely incorrect of myself. I don't have anything to offer up as far as an explanation other than that. Just the fact that it has a good history of working, which is pretty much all that I need to really see for myself. Whatever the edge is, man. If you can show me that it works, fair enough. That's all that matters in this game. Results. Just fucking results, baby. Jeff says the cheapest toast on the Ethereum 3-day Stokes was a little trend line. Okay, let's see exactly what you're saying over here. So you're talking about a 3-day trend line. Let's see. Yes, you are correct on that, actually. No, this would not be Jesus Toast. This would be very much legitimate. I mean, we have 1, 2, 3 working on 4 tests here. It's already turning around. We get this next closure above 25.30. I mean, these are major pivots, it looks like. I already know by heart that this date right here in December 2019, that's your last major low at $100. Well, like years ago, this is. Where's the other ones? Where were the other ones? It was, let me put on the drawing tools right here. Then this low right here, that was your coronavirus dump times. And this low right here, which was your last major basin at 350 before going to where we're at right now. And now basin at 27 to 2800. So is it Jesus Toast? I think that that's actually quite well tested. In fact, if anything, pretty good, pretty fucking good. Sir, who told you about my shroom strategy? What the fuck? Yeah, man, take some psychedelics, look at charts. Your mind will be exploded in perhaps a bad way, actually. Ryan H says, thanks for all the info. Hey, man, my pleasure. Can you please check out VeChain? Sure. I'm going to do VET versus US dollar. And I suppose, seeing as you didn't give any time frames, I'm just going to go with daily and weekly. Again, looks to me like it is going to try to put in a higher low right here. Most of the things in this market are trying to do that. So you can probably play off that assumption here. Already kind of did break the range highs, so I think that this was just a bit of a pullback for reaccumulation after the first sort of I guess jump above the prior accumulation range or prior daily range highs. I'll be looking for this one to trade up towards the high of last week, it looks like, and then probably continue on towards 16.5 or so. Short-term timeframes, let's see if they're more revealing. Yeah, short-term timeframes don't look as strong to me, actually. Yeah, they certainly don't look as strong to me. So you know what? And the 2-day is not as compelling either, nor is the 3-day. Yeah, if I was just looking at this one on its own, I'd say I really don't have a strong opinion on it. But putting it into the context of everything else in this market, I would favor a little bit of maybe short-term continuation here. Weekly has a pretty obvious range at about 11.25 all the way to the 10 simple here at about 16.5. That's pretty much where I'd be at, and I'd look for the majors in this market to kind of give a better bias on direction in this one. Okay, sweet. LB says, hi, Krown. What's up, man? Have you seen the grid trading system on Binance? No, I do not trade Binance, and I would rather not ever touch that shitcoin carousel. It's like range trading system, and yes, shrooms are great for spiritual insights. Yes, spiritual insights, indeed, my friend. No, I haven't seen it, man. Grid trading system on Binance, I'm not familiar with it. Look, not saying this to like sound racist or anything, but I do not trust Binance. I do not like Binance. I've always been skeptical of Binance ever since 2017, where they just literally came out of nowhere and all of a sudden have all the fucking volume in the market. How the fuck does that happen? Huh? You tell me how the fuck that happens, because I think that that's a bit of a warning signal there. Now, look, man, is it a bad exchange? I mean, they have most of the volume on, on most of the relevant pairs, but they also have the shitcoin carousel going as well. So for me, I just avoid exchanges like that. Binance is not for like actual traders. Binance is for people trying to play the fucking lottery, in my opinion. Like, they're looking for the shitcoins to go 100x. I mean, they do have derivatives there too, but not for me, man, not for me. So I can't speak from experience there, is what I'm trying to say. Hey, awesome to hear, LB. Cole Evans says, hi, Krown, what's up, man? Can you take a look at Cardano USD, Binance for a short-term pullback and then long-term? Okay, well, I guess we'll look at like a 4-hour and then maybe a weekly. Let's see what we got over here. 4-hour. 4-hour looks, I think you just kind of got your pullback right there, maybe a little bit more to like 170. We looked at this one earlier. I still like it. 4-hour TSI turning up. 4-hour RSI is neutral to slightly bullish. I'd be looking for this one to pop back up towards the range highs right here. Long-term, weekly, one of the better charts, operating above all major movement averages. I do think that we do not have hidden bullish evidence here, but I would say that this one's more or less confirmed anyways, and really extend this move back up to the prior highs. And, at that point, you might have to be thinking new highs. I mean, the monthly is not bearish. Monthly says new highs as well. Maybe not this month, but maybe later this summer. Amon Dean says, sorry, man, my bad. Euro Colombian pace. Okay, there we go. All right, gotcha, man, gotcha. Okay, so 4-hour daily. Okay, Euro pace. Actually, it won't work like that. Let's see, what if what the fuck? Peso. God damn it. Let's see. We'll just have to go down the list here, huh? Euro versus... what's the ticker, man? Do you have like a ticker? That would be much more helpful. Let's go to Forex. Let's see if we can find it here. Oh, boy. We got to go through all these exotic pairs. Canadian dollar. Okay. Swedish krona. No. Mexican peso. Getting closer. We're getting closer. Not necessarily the same thing. I do know that much. Okay, here we go. Colombia. Okay, so it's literally COP. All right, interesting. I wonder why it didn't pop up that first time. Okay, and you are looking at what? You are looking at a 4-hour and daily. Well, the monthly is consolidated at a very high level, although it very likely does come down here. It probably is a long-term opportunity. Daily's coming down as well. I'll be looking for this one at base again, right around about 43.50ish region, maybe even lower than that. Hold on, you actually do have a reaccumulation going on right here. And what do you know? It's right around the 377. Yeah, I'm inclined to say that this one does actually trade lower over the next few weeks, probably somewhere around like, 40 mid like 42s to 4300ish region. Anywhere around here is a major opportunity. It just gives a natural bias and natural risk management point on this one as well. If you're looking at the very short term time frames, like a 4-hour, it's just melting down, man, for death cross right there. I'm inclined to say that this one just kind of slowly glides its way down to this region and then tries for another higher low in a series of long-term higher lows. Now, long-term, I actually really like this chart, in fact. But that is long-term, not to be confused with like a fucking 4-hour. So overall, man, yeah, I'd be looking for another base somewhere down around like 4250 to 4300ish region, and then try for another move to the upside, perhaps long term. Nate says more from Stonkland. All right, let's do it, baby. AIXA on daily, weekly. Okay, Elsa demands more nano for video editing. That's right, but she will not be getting it for her laziness that she had this morning. Anyways, AIXA. Oh shit! Whoops. There we go. Okay, she hit me. You're abusing me. That's it. No more fucking nanos for you. Okay, and what time frames did you say again? Daily and weekly. Okay, got it. Yeah, man. This one's looking long term good. The question to me is, do we pop back down around here at like 13 first? I don't necessarily know. Monthly, again, long term good. You already know this. I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. The question to me is, do we play out a short term? Well, I guess short term within the context of monthly down to like 13 and a quarter, 13 and a third first. That's what I'd be postulating here. Maybe quarterly will reveal. Let's see what the quarterly says. Quarterly is just a backfilling up. I'm inclined to say that the quarterly is going to be right in this case. And long term, we actually do have a quarterly sort of inverted Quasimodo right here, which is probably going to target the prior all-time highs at 31.5 and maybe even new all-time highs. But if you're looking at a daily, I struggle with ranges like this here. I can tell you the obvious things. Obviously, here's your highs, here's your lows. Does it come back down here first? I don't know. Momentum oscillators are, I guess, a little bit more on the bearish side, but I wouldn't feel confident right here. I'd only feel confident on the higher term timeframes. Look, long term, this one very likely does break the range highs and goes on for a nice melt. Here's your major area on the weekly as well, 19.5. I'll be looking for that one to, pop up all the way to 24.5 would be next target, and then prior all-time highs after that. And this does look very, very good here. So it depends how long you are, how long-term you are. But short-term, I don't have a strong opinion there, actually. Dude Daddy, what's up, man? Hey, hope all is well with you too, sir. Reed Harvey says, hey, man, I'm sorry, I just tuned in. Fuck you, man! Late! Get out! Out! Hope you didn't talk about it already. Talk about what? Medium term on Clove. Hey, all right. No problem, man. Clove. Let's see. What is this? Clover Health Investments. Funnily enough, no one's asked about this yet. Looks like we do have a major daily rejection right there. I do think that this one very likely is basing out long term, but it does look like it wants to come back down and probably test somewhere around like just below $8 or so. Let's see what the weekly looks like. See if that agrees or disagrees. No, weekly is looking for a reversal here. We have bullish evidence come off that low. Yes, it is still in a downtrend, obviously, but I do happen to think that this one is probably going to pull through. Monthly is pretty shitty, though. You know what? Let's do a bit of a more dissection on this one. I probably would be looking for next move to the downside. Does it base again at like $7? If it starts to come back down to $7, I'd be looking for a higher low there. If you get a higher low around here, that's at the point where I would actually look at this one as likely to put in reversal long term. I don't think it's ready to go melt to the upside and like reverse this just yet. The only way that I change around that opinion is with a weekly closure above this level right here, right? Basically smack dab at $10. But I do think that you are basing out now. It's just probably going to take some time. There's not a whole hell of a lot of history here to be going off of, so I'm inclined to say, yeah, next move. Short-term timeframes do say downside here. Maybe like a short-term timeframe bounce at around $8 again, but I'd be looking for some sort of a higher low, around $7, and that would be pretty damn good. All right, Mara Daily Weekly. Sure, man. Hey, what's up, Serperator? I believe this is a minor. Let's see, Marathon Digital Holdings, Daily Weekly. Daily actually has a very similar range to Bitcoin here. I do think that this one does look a little more inclined to test the downside of the range once again, about $20. However, weekly, long term. Does it hold up? I think it holds up for now, and you will see a weekly rally back up to like 33 and a half or so. The weekly says I'm going to be wrong about my daily call right there. We do have a weekly golden cross. I'm sure someone's going to call this a head and shoulders. Well, you actually had head and shoulders right here. I wouldn't say this whole thing is a head and shoulders. However, the weekly says that I'd be wrong about my daily disposition there. So I'm going to go with the weekly in this case. It is a higher term time frame. You do have an obvious pivot on the daily here too. Any sort of a move back above about 26.36, and I'd be looking for this one to pop up all the way towards about 31 and a half, and maybe even run for more over time. But this one probably takes it one step at a time. Long term, we do have a change of behavior on the volume over here, so I'm inclined to go with that alongside a weekly golden cross. I don't like trading against that like ever. Monthly says we're consolidating for a long time though, between the 10 simple and the 89. And that was basically the daily range anyway. So I'd give it the benefit of the doubt here. Technically speaking, we don't necessarily have a full-on reversal on the monthly just yet. I want to see a higher low. I'd like to see a higher low on the monthly. So does that mean that we actually do come down and try for a higher low, maybe like below $11 at some point? I don't know, man. This one I'm actually rather struggling with, to be honest with you. Quarterly says okay as well. So sideways above $19 is going to be long-term good, yes. And I do think that is going to give another long-term move to the upside, but the question is, do we come down for a higher low try first on the monthly, or do we just blast through the prior highs and then try to set in a higher low? I don't know. Weekly says upside first, sideways and up is what the weekly says. Boomer plays games. What's up, man? Can you please look at H bar? We already looked at it actually, but we can look at it very quickly here. I forget exactly what it did say. Yeah, this one a little bit more on the relatively weak side, all things considered, but I do think it probably has some short-term upside back around to like about 25 cent, maybe 25.50ish region. If the rest of the market gets going again, Bitcoin about 41,000 bucks, I'd probably be looking for this one to pop back up somewhere 30 cents or so. But this one is not operating on its own. It's certainly not relatively strong. So I'm inclined to say that this one, it's just easier to watch Bitcoin in my opinion. And this one actually does look a little more actually bearish than the other ones, seeing as we do have lower highs and lower lows still. If I was just looking at this one, I would be bearish honestly. But the market moves together. We all know that, at least for 99% of it. In this case, I'm a little more inclined to say that this one does get just a bit of a benefit by being in the market and probably pops back up to like quarter. No time frames given, so I don't know where to go with that one. Abbott says, thank you, sir. I saw the discipline question went up too. I appreciate that. And awesome, man. Yeah, again, these are really, really helpful. Not just for yourself, but everyone. I mean, we all kind of have like very similar issues. We're all fucking human beings at the end of the day, right? So we're operating with the same sort of hormones and same sort of internal structures. I mean, what is like the statistic like that our DNA is 99.99999% the same between us all. So you can imagine that any sort of an issue that you have is probably going to be very, very common. I mean, I certainly have felt that. I'm sure that many other here have felt that as well. So yeah, man, definitely call it out because it's probably going to be useful. If it's useful to you, it's probably going to be useful to other people as well. Kevin fucking Wentz says, hey Krown, hair looking great. Thanks, man. Have you covered KSM? No, man. No, we have not covered KSM. I even have it on my list over here too, seeing as it was one of the better actors. Okay, so let's see how the weekly close, and let's see what time frames did you want to look at. 4 hour actually. Okay, well I'm not even on a 4 hour. Weekly still looks okay to me. Above all major moving averages, although we don't have a whole hell of a lot there to be going off of. It is always going to be fine. 4 hour golden cross in the making right here. As long as it bases upon, if you're specifically asking about the 4 hour, we'll do this exactly for the 4 hour. As long as you're based upon this area right here, yes, maybe it comes back down and tests this area once again, but overall I'd be looking for this at very, very likely to pop up to like 530, maybe 550ish region range, or I'd even say like a breakout would be above about 455. And this one does look more or less good to me. 4 hour TSI turning up once again, playing out the same trend line over here. Fine. We do see 4 hour RSI giving a hidden bullish divergence, and now just kind of working its way up constructively. Yeah, I would be looking for this one to go sideways and up, and I'd be generally bullishly biased on this one as long as it's above about 394, 395 region. Looks fine. One of the better actors for sure. Jeff says, I miss the Forex Fortress, especially if Bitcoin goes sideways for months here. Yeah, man, if Bitcoin goes sideways, we could perhaps bring that back, or maybe I could just go back to doing video games. Yeah, man, we could probably do that. But for right now, I think Bitcoin's still interesting enough just because the ranges are so large. that there is a lot of opportunity. But yeah, it definitely has been getting more and more boring, obviously, for the average person, I imagine. Even just like looking at the numbers on this channel, as I've been saying, I can usually tell about where we are within the market, just governed off of like how many views this channel is getting, and all of the other crypto channels as well. You typically see they tail off just like volume would expect on price action as well. It's actually rather telling, in fact. So yeah, man, could be if things get like really, really boring. Absolutely. I'm always happy to look at Forex anyways. Tyler McBain says, hello, sir. Medium time watcher. All right. All good, man. First time commenter. Well, good to meet you, sir. Appreciate Thanks, man. Good time to go long on CRM. Oh dear. You know better. You're a medium term watcher. You already know. You already know better, man. You already know all the recommending that I'll give you for something like that. I'll give you an opinion on medium term timeframes for CRM, but is it a good time to go long in it? I mean, look, this chart's fine. It's obvious reaccumulation right here as well. Higher lows. This one's going to pop back up very likely to like 250, maybe even continue on for another rally. Or yeah, oh wow, very powerful chart, very fucking powerful chart. I'd be looking for this one to work its way back up to prior all-time highs over the next month or 2 or 3, whatever it ends up being, and then this very likely makes new all-time highs. I mean, this is reaccumulation after a macro breakout, and this thing's just one of the best charts that you could really hope for over a long period of time. I mean, this just only goes up. It's fucking phenomenal. Quarterly is basing out at an extremely high. This one's gonna make new all-time highs probably before end of year. Looks very, very good. Micah R says Bitcoin CME seems low volume. Why is it important? It's actually not low volume because you do not know how to, and I don't say this like as a mean thing, but you probably don't know how to interpret volume on CME. First and foremost, if you're just looking at the actual numbers on volume right here, understand that this is measured in contracts traded. What's a contract on CME? You should look at the contract specifications. What are they? Well, for every contract traded, that is equal to 5 Bitcoins. So if you were to make an allegory between volume on CME and other exchanges, it would actually be 5x in the totality of what you see right here. Why is that also important? Well, CME is also the most established and professional exchange. That's actually why it matters. It's not necessarily due to volume, and volume needs to be considered within the context of the overall structure anyways, which it's working exactly how you expect, actually. So it's the wrong thing to be thinking of. It's the most professional exchange. That's number one, why it matters the most. And then number two, the volume is actually a lot higher than what you probably would at first expect, because first off, it's not measured in dollars, it's measured in contracts. One contract equals 5 Bitcoin. So you can essentially multiply the Bitcoin volume by 5, and you could maybe equate it to, I don't know, like a Coinbase. Anyways, as far as futures exchanges goes, this is the second most traded futures exchange, only behind OKX, which OKX has significant speculation that a lot of wash trading goes on there. So that's what I'd say about that, man. That's what I'd say about that. It's mostly most important just because it is the most professional exchange there, and that's where all the big players are going to be trading, and that's where you can typically see the most obvious things. And a lot of the time over the weekend, you see kind of I wouldn't say fake price action on Bitcoin, but just unhelpful price action on Bitcoin that typically does not lead to great signals as far as that goes. All right, last one, the last of the last. Serperator says BNB daily, weekly. Okay. BNB USD. CZ shitcoin, huh? Not as interesting here, actually, as some of the other ones. Again, it's very similar structure here that we've seen on several of the other better actors, as we do see you got a little bit of a short-term range going on right here and right here, obviously. I would look at this first and foremost as very likely to give another try back up towards about 425. I know that you asked about a daily, weekly, but I do think it's warranted to look at the short-term timeframes, because here's my bias on this one, as is most of the other ones. As long as you're above these range lows right here on the short-term timeframes, I do have a general bullish bias on these, probably, for this one popping back up to like 500 or 530 or whatever it ends up being. However, if you do take out this level to the downside, about 376, 375, we'll say, I would be looking for this one to trade all the way back down towards about 340, maybe even 300-ish region, and try for perhaps another higher low. Momentum oscillators do say 4-hour is more or less on the more Bula imposed side, but if you're looking at the daily, actually look at this. It's actually looking a little more like a rejection right there. Weekly is just playing out a range between the 21 and the 10 simple for right now. So again, kind of range bound, but short-term timeframes are going to be giving some signals, and that could give you the continuation to that next like 500 or so target. All right, last of the last one now. What? Yeah, I see. Okay, I missed one. Bots FTW says, if Ethereum flips Bitcoin, will the market follow Ethereum? If Ethereum flips Bitcoin, will the market follow Ethereum? I mean, the market kind of follows each other anyways, but okay, first off, we're making a big assumption here. If Ethereum flips Bitcoin, still pretty fucking far away. Like, make no mistake about it. People have been talking about the flippening for, since the dawn of time, and it's always been a meme. And every time that like it even gets close, it's usually like a sign of a major reversal in the market. Anyways, the question is, if Ethereum flips Bitcoin, will the market follow Ethereum? I would imagine so, yes. I mean, if it's the most relevant one, it's going to set the tone for the rest of the market, just in the same way that like, your major indices in traditional market kind of set the tone for the rest of the market. Not everything follows it 1-to-1, but it's kind of like the pace car, if you will. So I'd imagine the same thing too, but I want to see that established over, preferably like a monthly or quarterly time frame, rather than just like a one-off. We flipped the Bitcoins and now Ethereum's the leader. Like, no, that needs to be a consistent trend over a period of time in order for me to feel compelled in that way. But if that did happen, then yeah, I would imagine it probably will take over as kind of setting the general disposition in the overall market. So yeah, that's essentially what I'd be saying right there. All right, so I think we are at the end of this baby, and let me just take this off right there. What the fuck is that? Satoshi Bets? What the fuck? Anyways, we'll go over here. Let's wrap up Bitcoin just really, really quickly. Again, Bitcoin, as long as it's holding this higher low right here, I do look at this as a bear trap basically in progress, a very slow one, but it has been working. Whoops, do this one right here. That would be right around about 35,500 on a closing basis. As long as above there, I do generally think that we're just going to kind of dig ourselves out for Bitcoin and work our way back up to like 39,000 bucks. It's mostly the strength across the general market with some of the leaders like Cardano, Ethereum, and the likes, and maybe even Matic too, that seem to be postulating a little bit more upside. Overall, as we did identify in the beginning of this video and for the past like 2 weeks of videos, I do think that Bitcoin likely tests some upside before some actual downside if it wants to test it even at all. But the bi-weekly MACD signal, has historically been 100% accurate and very, very telling. So while Bitcoin is probably looking for a little bit of short-term upside, maybe medium-term upside, I would still take it one step at a time. If I'm just looking at Bitcoin, again, I'm happy to be short-term bullish as long as I'm about 35.5 on 4-hour closing basis. I do think we're going to spend some more time maybe grinding this area out, doing a bit more of a trappy trap. And then, Bitcoin probably gets a try back up, 39,000 bucks. At that point, I'd pay special attention to the range highs. If Bitcoin can either close above this high right here, or I mean, if we do it on a daily, it's a little bit more forgiving, which would be about 39,300 or 39,400, we'll say. If Bitcoin can close above these highs right here, I would extend short-term targets to about 43,000 bucks. Very likely a short-term pullback from there with continuation implied somewhere into the deeper $40,000 territory. Anywhere between about 47 and 48,000 bucks is fair game as far as all the higher term time frame macro indications go. But for right now, Bitcoin actually is looking a little more under pressure right here, to be fair. Now, if Bitcoin does break 35,000 bucks or 35,500 to the downside, where to be looking towards? I'd be looking for Bitcoin to try for another low somewhere right around here at about 34. Technically speaking, if you are looking at this as some sort of symmetrical triangle, which I do not believe that it is, you'd be looking at something like this, and it would have a measure move, I believe, down to about 30 or 31,000 bucks. Oh, what's up, Kendrick? All right, Kendrick. Last of the last. All right, the Dominicans have returned in NMR, USD still, but hourly over time, over the last 4 days has helped even the odds. Is there a descending UCA in play somewhere? Let's check it out. All right, NMR US derp. All right, the last of the last one for the good old Dominicans over here. So you're looking at the hourly for this one. Hourly is not too telling to me. It's just sideways AF. 4 hour, again, not too telling to me either. Definitely not my favorite chart. This one's neither relatively strong nor relatively weak. Looks like it's trying to put in a higher low here, but man, this thing does not trade that much, or at least it's very illiquid because these wicks are just wild. I do not like that actually. Weekly is not giving me shit. Is it a descending triangle? I mean, it would actually be more or less an ascending triangle, if anything. Something like this going on right here, if you want to just Jesus toast a triangle in there. But it actually looks a little more downside imposed, all things considered. The problem is that the rest of the market looks to be putting in some short-term higher lows, and I'd be more inclined to say that Mr. Kendrick, that this one very likely does pop back up to 54, not based on anything really on this chart, mostly based off of the rest of the market. Now, above this level right here, you could probably look for another melt-up move towards like 65 or 66 or so. But in this case right here, definitely not operating on its own. Definitely one of the more relatively uninspiring charts, I'd say. But considering everything else within this market, I do think that it trades probably back up there. Now, you'll know that I'm wrong if we do trade below the last higher low in this structure right here, which is going to be right around here. about 46 and a quarter. Below there, I'd be looking for this one to return back down to former non-glories at $39 and perhaps even lower than that over time. All right, Mr. Abbott, you have a good week as well, sir. All right, fellas, I'm going to be signing off now. It's been an absolute pleasure. Really enjoyed these chats. And with that said, I wish you well. Hopefully see you soon, and take care.
Write it, code it, name it, tweet it, mine it, stack it, live it, dream it, post it, scan it, charge it, send it, do it, and receive it. Trade it, buy it, sell it, store it, run it, list it, first rename it. Crypto logic. Pump it, hack it, lose it, dump it, sell it, ditch it, fix or pitch it, copy, paste it, nudge it, test it, build it, try it, bend it, fork it, hype it, pump it, dump it, rinse, repeat, but quick relocate. Pause it, list it, send it, burn it, pump it, hack it, quick rename it, take it, take it, lend it, send it, swell it, sell it, flip, unflip it, see it, watch it, learn it, know it, post it, tweet it, and repeat it, chart it, long it, short it, hedge it, post prediction, quick erase it, watch it, leave it, watch it, leave it, check it, click it, and refresh it, find it, drop it, crack it, lose it, curse it, pay it, to it, pay it, bar it, chart it, hide it, fight it, deal it, seal it, and unlock it, back it, send it, change it, lend it, mine it, grind it, how it, test it, praise it, curse it, trash it, hash it, roll it, troll it, and upgrade it, take it, take it, lend it, send it, swell it, sell it, flip, unflip it, see it, watch it, learn it, know it, post it, tweet it, and repeat it, chart it, long it, short it, hedge it, post prediction, quick erase it, watch it, leave it, watch it, leave it, check it, click it, and refresh it, write it, code it, name it, read it, mine it, stack it, live